limit TV and video games, walk outside in nature for 45 minutes, 5 to 6 times a week. Multiple studies show that exercise helps ADD, especially in nature. Work on fixing your sleep, which is a common ADD battle. Hypnosis, meditation, magnesium, and melatonin can help. Eliminate caffeine and nicotine. Short-term, these substances may help, but long-term, you'll feel a lot more ADD. Plus, it's critical to get your diet right. Your brain uses 25% of the calories you consume, and a fast food diet will give you a fast food ADD mind. More on this in a bit. And type-specific supplements or medications that we discussed. So many of the patients who come to see us want to be off their medication. I usually tell them that's a bad goal. The goal should always be your best functioning, not to be on or off medication. If you can do it without medication, great, and we'll show you the best natural treatment. But if it doesn't work, then medication can be helpful. But as we've said, it needs to be targeted to your type. Let me also be clear that medication-only treatment, which is what most ADD people ever get, is bad treatment. You also need to get your diet, exercise, and behavioral strategies right, as they can significantly lower any medication you might need.
There are multiple studies connecting food dyes, additives, and pesticides to ADD, as well as studies that show getting rid of certain foods can make a big difference. 2 studies from Holland show that eliminating gluten, corn, dairy, soy, and food dyes significantly improved. This is really important. More than 70% of the ADD kids.
That's amazing. Here are some of our rules for healing ADD through food. It seems that most doctors want to medicate first, but our best success stories come from following these rules. There is much more information in the program materials.
Rule number 1, it is especially important to start the day with protein. Research shows that if you take medicine, protein will help it work longer. Plus, protein helps to stabilize blood sugar levels and maintain focus. Unfortunately, many people start the day with simple carbs. Think sugar cereals, donuts, waffles, pancakes, muffins, and yes, fruit juice. All of which spike blood sugar and cause an insulin response, which then lowers blood sugar and makes people feel spacey. Then about 45 minutes later, we tell kids to focus. No wonder so many kids are diagnosed with ADD. Rule number 2, try an elimination diet for 3 weeks by completely eliminating gluten, corn, dairy, soy, sugar, artificial sweeteners, food additives, and food dyes. If you notice that you or your child feels better, start adding back 1 food at a time and see if there are any culprits stealing your mind. We have so many success stories with elimination diets, and every ADD person and family should try it. Rule number 3, eat often enough to protect your blood sugar. Low blood sugar levels are associated with low blood flow to the brain and more ADD symptoms. Eat protein with each meal and use protein snacks before homework or chores, such as a hard-boiled egg, turkey, or nuts. Homework will go so much better than if you give children soda and cookies. I'm sorry, soda and cookies are bad for homework, and they are bad for ADD. Rule number 4, basic nutritional supplements can be helpful to support the brain, such as a multiple vitamin and mineral complex, including zinc and vitamin D, plus an omega-3 supplement, higher in EPA rather than DHA for most of the types. Studies have found EPA to be more effective for ADD and depression.
Based on our experience, there are many other practical tips that can make a big difference for coping and even thriving with each type of ADD. Here are just 3. There are many more in the program materials. Everyone with ADD does better when they make very clear goals to focus on. This works even for kids and teens. We have an exercise called the one-page miracle. where on one piece of paper you write what you want in each area of your life: relationships, school or work, your money, and your health. Then you ask yourself every day, is my behavior getting me what I want? For example, if you want a great relationship with your wife, but you're tempted to stray with someone else, ask yourself, does your behavior get you what you want? One of my married ADD friends once told me he met a pretty woman at a medical conference and she'd already been to his office. I looked at him with big eyes and said, "Do you like attorneys?" He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Play it out. You're not good at hiding things and your wife will find out. 6 months from now, you will have lost half your net worth and you'll be visiting your children on the weekends." "Oh," he said, "I hadn't thought it out," which is a common ADD trait.
The second tip is to study or work in a career you love. Love is a drug, and people who have ADD do so much better if they choose jobs that give them a sense of meaning and purpose. It's one of the reasons I became a nurse. I love medicine, and most of the time it doesn't seem like work. I also love teaching people about health, and the love keeps me on track.
The last tip is to remember that ADD is a family disorder. It puts stress on everyone, from those affected, along with their parents, siblings, and even grandparents. Here is a scan of Wes, who came to see us for adult ADD. He had trouble finishing college. When we diagnosed him with classic ADD with low prefrontal cortex activity, he said, "If you think I'm bad, you should see my dad." His dad wanted no part of getting help.
We then saw Wes's older sister for moodiness, focus, and relationship problems. She had Ring of Fire ADD and was overly sensitive and moody. As she got better, she said, "If you think I'm bad, you should see my dad." Her father was still resistant to getting help.
Then I saw the kid's mother, who was so stressed out by her marriage and by the kids, she wanted help for herself. Her immune system was worn out, and she was getting sick more often and suffering with headaches and feeling chronically overwhelmed. As all three of them got much better, the dad finally came for help. Have you ever known anyone who waited too long before they asked for help? The first question he asked me was, how could I have ADD if I'm this successful in business? He was the CEO of a large company. But when I asked him the questions about ADD, it was really clear. He was restless, impulsive, and his wife and kids told me he had an explosive temper. He had what I told you earlier was type 4 temporal lobe ADD. His scan showed decreased activity in the left temporal lobe, which is often associated with irritability, and decreased activity in his prefrontal cortex, making it harder for him to control his behavior. On our program, he did so much better. He felt closer to his wife and children. There was much less tension in the home. And the next year, he made more money than he ever had, all because he could focus and had better judgment. He later told me he was a successful underachiever. At first, he was resistant to getting helped, but he changed, and he became a much better leader of his family and his business. You can change too. You can do something about this. When people get committed to healing ADD, their lives change.